The Marvel Universe is vast, populated by all manner of powerful heroes, villains, gods, cosmic abstracts, and, well, dupe. It has rapidly evolved over the years to become one of the largest and most complicated shared universes in all of fictional history. But where did it begin? What was Marvel's first crossover?
The year is 1939. The man in this photo is Martin Goodman, a pulp magazine publisher. Goodman observed that National Allied Publications, which would become DC Comics in 1977, experienced explosive success in printed comics featuring superheroes such as Superman and Batman. This would motivate Goodman to launch his own comic book company. It was called Timely Comics and would later become known as Marvel Comics in 1961, named after its first monthly title, Marvel Comics.
Marvel Comics number 1 was an anthology book featuring 64 pages of harrowing adventure. This book included a slate of new serials from various creative teams, including The Angel, The Masked Raider, Jungle Terror, Kazar, and most notably, Carl Burgess's The Human Torch and Bill Everett's The Submariner.
The original Human Torch was an android created by Professor Horton. When exposed to oxygen, the android would ignite, becoming an unstoppable, flaming guy with a mind of his own. Eventually, he gets loose and briefly runs around causing trouble before becoming more of a crime-fighting good guy type.
In the same issue, but in a separate story, we meet Neymar the Submariner, a slightly murderous anti-hero who lives under the sea with his fellow subaquatic people, waging a never-ending war against white men who nearly destroyed his species years ago.
These characters were wildly popular, and beginning with issue 2, the monthly comic took the name Marvel Mystery Comics. Along with other ongoing serials, the Human Torch, who becomes a policeman, and the Submariner continued their adventures distinctly separate from each other. Well, until issue 7. In that issue, the Human Torch story ended with Torch hearing about a submariner who was apparently wrecking the city. I'm a poopy doo-doo, but damn it, Judah, why do we let him write scripts?
If this wasn't enough of a teaser, in the same issue, the Submariner story ended with Namor being warned that the Human Torch was a member of the police force. Ooh. Imagine being a kid in the summer of 1940 and reading this. Imagine how stoked you'd be for issue number 8, knowing that it very well might involve these two seemingly unrelated characters occupying the same world, meeting, and even possibly fighting. I'm excited just thinking about it.
For some perspective, think back to the post-credits scene in Iron Man 1, when Nick Fury shows up and mentions the Avengers to Tony Stark.
You think you're the only superhero in the world? Mr. Stark, you've become part of a bigger universe. You just don't know it yet. Who the hell are you? Nick Fury, director of S.H.I.E.L.D. Oh. I'm here to talk to you about the Avenger Initiative.
How dope was that? Well, this was even better because the concept of a shared universe was brand new. Kids who were reading this stuff absolutely flipped out.
And their excitement was rewarded, because in Marvel Mystery Comics issue 8, the first ever Marvel crossover event went down. The book immediately opened with the Submariner story, which culminated with Namor and the Torch facing off on a bridge. Their initial skirmish was inconclusive, but the action continued in the very next Torch story of the same issue. Round 2 also ended in somewhat of a stalemate, but it was okay because the end of the story teased the battle of the century in issue number 9.
I mean, how the hell could a kid resist? In Marvel Mystery Comics number 9, we fall right into the action with 22 back-to-back pages of Torch and Submariner combat. During the fighting, we catch glimpses of Namor displaying varying degrees of empathy. He's not a straight villain, but more of a misunderstood anti-hero. Ultimately, the two agree to go their separate ways, forming an uneasy treaty.
So concludes the first Marvel crossover event of all time. Decades will pass, new characters will be introduced, and the new Marvel universe will grow. But this formula will remain largely intact, luring millions of children and adults back to the magazine racks, and eventually comic book shops and movie theaters, to watch their favorite superheroes and supervillains beat the shit out of each other.
Until next time, true believers. Did you enjoy this recap of one of the most pivotal moments in superhero history? We definitely enjoyed making it. Be sure to toss us a like, subscribe to the channel, and ring that notification bell so that we can continue to hook you up with top-notch comic book content. Stay nerdy, my friends!